Good afternoon to everybody. For those of you who have not met me, I do see some new names in the audience. My name is Jim Wischusen, and also in the FRP division here at Minoxidant, you have Sam Stelzner and also Craig Sarnetsky. What you should be aware of, though, is that Minoxidant fabricates various types of FRP for different applications, and in the underground market, you have available to you either single wall uninsulated underduct or double wall insulated underduct in various R values of R6, R10, R14, and even higher. Historically, there has always been some, let's say, aversion to the method of joining this underground duct, and that would be the wet layup joint. This is known as the ASTM D3982 button wrap method, where we supply all of the chopped mat, the thermoset resin, the catalyst, the small hand tools, and the contractor has to do at the job site in the field a wet layup joint where he's wetting out layers of mat and doing lamination at each joint. Okay. And this is what a typical job site would look like, where you have a workstation set up with your thermoset resin, your chop mat, and all of your hand tools. And there has been some resistance to this, even though, as you can see in the background, we are factory manifolding. That is, we're putting together as much of the duct as possible for you in the factory. There has been some aversion to the wet layup joint. And there are some challenges, although some contractors actually do prefer it. It is labor intensive for preparation, for application, and then also, of course, for cleanup. For some, resin odor can be offensive. The contractor must supply personal protection equipment and also acetone for cleaning, tools, hands, that sort of thing. Without a doubt, is weather dependent. You cannot do wet layup joints without some tricks below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And also rain is a no-go, so that's a major restriction. Many times inexperienced contractors will waste resin. That is, they'll mix too much, and the end result is that they don't have enough to complete the job. And also, when you ship extra resin or resin in general, you're dealing with hazmat fees, so you cannot overnight it. So these are some things. Well, would you like to bury the competition? Quite literally means let's go after them, okay? Coming now, available right now, is the now grip seal clamping system for underground applications. Many of you are aware of the competition that uses a clamping system, and that would be the Blue Duct HDPE system. And we decided that we were going to develop a system that was modeled after that, only we wanted to make it better. So here's what we did. Basically, we took a piece of single wall underduct of whatever diameter we needed, and we laminated in the factory 2 clips onto it to make an external clamp connection. And this clamp connection consists of the clamp itself, a bitumen butyl rubber tape, which is your gasket, and we did try various types of gasket materials in our testing of this. Then, of course, stainless steel hardware on the outside. That is modeled exactly after what the competition does, only we made it better. So the name, the marketing name, and this is something that you all as salespeople should be aware of, grip sealed, goes down to the first test that we did on this clamping system. Like I said, the clamp is made from a single wall underduct. You notice on the inside of this clamp, it's very smooth, it's very shiny, and that's exactly how the duct itself comes out. That's a function of how it's made. It's a very resin-rich surface, and it's very smooth bore. Well, what we did was we took 2 sections of single wall duct. We took our clamp and we clamped it around with the butyl rubber tape, and you can see that there's a hole in this section of duct here, and a hole in this section of duct here. And we suspended this whole assembly from an electric chain fall, okay? And we anchored the bottom half to a weight that was not going to be able to be picked up. Clamped it together, and you can see at the top there's a load cell, and this load cell determined how many pounds of force this chain fall was going to be picking up, and it was displayed on this load cell display that you see here. Now, the very first thing we did was the clamp that you just saw, where very smooth bore, and of course we did different amounts of gasket, but here's what happened. So we literally destroyed it, okay? And you notice in the call out here that the gasket tended to stick to the duct itself, and it failed in between the clamp and the gasket. But even with that, it took over 700 pounds to rip this thing apart. So then the next thing that we noticed, and this is a reiteration, again, notice that the smooth bore of the clamp is where the gasket ripped out. That's where it failed, okay? So the next thing we did is we introduced something on the inside called peel ply. Now, peel ply is put on when they fabricate, when they wind the single wall UnderDuct, okay? It's a loosely embedded piece of tape that when you peel it off, you notice this surface is no longer shiny and smooth, it's rough and abraded. Well, we went ahead and set this up the same exact way using the inner peel ply, same gasket, and you notice now the gasket failed against the duct, not against the clamp. When we did this simple act of making that clamp have more grip, now it took over 1,900 pounds to pull it apart. Now, like I said, we tried various clamping gasket materials. We also did it with the competition, okay? And they use an acrylic butyl gasket, and it failed with less than 300 pounds. So we're in excess of 6 times the tension strength of the other clamping system. The next thing we did was we wanted to know how much pressure it could take, which is probably more important than the tension, the strength of it. Going back a second, one of the major reasons that we did tension testing is because we did hear feedback on job sites how the competitor system was very flimsy, and you couldn't move it around too much because the clamping system failed, and now you see why. Well, with the grip seal, that tension enables it to be handled around without fear of dislodging. So moving on to pressure testing, instead of 2 straight sections of duct, we basically made 2 halves of a vessel, capped on one side, capped on the other side with a threaded connection. And we went ahead and joined it up, butted it up, wrapped it with the butyl rubber tape, put the clamp around it just like you saw before in the straight sections of duct. Then we went ahead and we put it underwater for safety's sake, okay? If you pressurize a vessel and it fails, you don't want shrapnel going around, so that's what we did. We put it in a tank, suspended it on either side, and then we attached a pressure source with an on-off valve, and we monitored that pressure, and we brought it up to 2 psi, slightly over 2 psi. That's in inches of water column right there. 2 psi is 53.36. We went up to 55.5, and we left it like that for 24 hours, and it held its pressure for 24 hours without any water intrusion whatsoever. So when you are connecting grip seal in the field, instead of the wet layup joints, now you're going to put your duct in the trench. You're going to peel your tape off the inside of the clamp. You do that at the last minute. This way there's no debris on the inside of the clamping system. You're going to align your duct in the trench, clean off. You don't need to abrade it as you see here. Just clean off loose dirt and debris. Wrap the tape, cut the tape, and peel the polyethylene off of the butyl rubber, wrap it around the duct connection, moving the clamp into place. You're at this point not going to allow what you see happening here. You're not going to allow these duct sections to move until you get the clamp on it. You position the clamp over the gasket, tighten the stainless steel hardware, and there you go. You have a complete clamping system, just like the blue duct method, only better. Now, these clamps are available in up to 36-inch diameter, but there's more. What we have also are, as an option, field installed taps, 90-degree taps, 90-degree saddle taps, and 45-degree taps. And all three of these taps are available with a main duct line diameter up to 36-inch, double what the competition offers, and the tap size up to 24-inch. So that's a distinct advantage. Now, here's something to consider when you're talking to contractors and engineers about this. First of all, again, the competition only offers this clamp up to 18-inch in diameter. After that, you see in the background of this picture, it becomes a flange setup, and that flange setup is sealed not with gasket, it's sealed with a caulk type sealant, and that sealant has to cure, okay? And it has to cure for a period of time. I believe their instructions say a number of days. However, but there is a cure time before you pressure test it. Now, the taps that you see here, they have to be field installed, and it is cut in, and these are screwed down again using the sealant that is supplied. And again, there's a cure time. Now, the longest piece of this material that you're going to get is 8 foot. So that means in a 16-foot length, you've got 1, 2, 3 clamps plus whatever taps you have to install. This is time, this is labor, this is money. Compare that to now grip seal and UnderDuct. We're going to send out up to 20-foot lengths, okay? And 20-foot lengths up to 36-inch diameter, and you're clamping it not at 8 foot, you're clamping it at 20 foot. So in a longer piece, you have one less clamp. These taps that you see here, you can either get them factory installed, which obviously reduces the number of field clamps in general that the contractor has to deal with, or you can have these supplied as field located. And the interesting thing about this is that if you do go for the field option, there is no cure time on that gasket. Once you tighten down that clamp around that gasket, it is sealed. There is no time. You can immediately pressure test. So to wrap it all up, the strengths here, you have no odor, no VOCs that you have to deal with on the job site. You're not going to have contractors that are running out of resin because of resin waste or inexperience. You're not going to have any sort of hazmat fees and shipping costs. You can install it in any weather, whether it be cold or wet. The clamp itself is the same strength, same class 1 low flame, low smoke material that the actual duct is made out of. It's much, much stronger than the competition's clamp. In fact, it's 6 times the tension strength of the competition. It's been pressure tested up to 2 PSI, and we do intend on going higher to see where it destructively fails at, but that's down the road a bit. 2 PSI is well over what any underground supply duct system is usually run at. The grip seal connectors in the straight are available up to 36-inch diameter. The tap connections are available up to 24-inch diameter. And again, you can have these taps either factory installed or field located. So the win-win situation here is that you now have a system that is comparable but better to the competition. It enables duct to go in much faster than before with less complaints, less headaches than before. It'll be less field install time than the competition because we're offering that factory manifolding system or setup, and it's a total win situation. There is a link on our website. If you go to fiberglass-duct.com, there, scroll down to the bottom, and there's a web page that you can go to frpgripseal.com. You can email myself. You can email myself at jimw@minoxidant.com, and we are ready to rock and roll. Let me take a look here and see if there are any questions. I know this was a short and sweet. Bill Dunn states Wesleyan job, nice photo. Yes, it was, Bill. There we go. If there are no other questions here, this is where, Ian Frank, can you cover the % cost savings in field? That is a great question, and you absolutely can cover that, because think about it. If you're doing every single 8 foot a joint, that's labor, that's time. Okay, if we're taking that away and then adding this clamp system, which does add a small amount to the job, then your labor in the field will offset any additional cost for the clamp. Now, the additional cost for the clamping system will vary from job to job depending on the overall lot size and the diameters and the number of taps and that sort of thing. So it's not a straightforward adder that you can do. Let's see if there are any other questions here. Larry Galen is asking, could you hit the sectional lengths from the blue duct again? Blue duct, the longest duct section that they send out is 8 foot, okay? And the largest diameter that they do in a clamp method is 18 inch. When you get to 20 inch and bigger, it becomes a flange system, and it gets much, much heavier, and it's got ribs, 4-inch thick ribs every 2 foot. When you get up into your larger diameter ducts, they don't send it out in 8 foot lengths. It goes down to 6 foot lengths and then 4 foot lengths. So you have even more connections to deal with, or you can go UnderDuct up to 36 inches for 20 foot length. Okay. Can I get a copy of this presentation? Yes, this will be recorded and it will be on the website. Also, if anybody would like a unrecorded copy of this, send me an email and I will send you a WeTransfer file link where you can download this presentation. Bill Dunn, is there a UL or ASTM rating for this method of connection? No, UL does not have any sort of standard yet still for underground duct, so their jurisdiction stops at the floor, and ASTM has not looked at this yet because it is an option. It's a manufacturer's option that is comparable to competitors, so there's nothing for that just yet. Rob, is there a warranty to the assembly? Good question, Rob. The bottom line is that after you assemble this clamp system, you will then pressure test it, and as long as there are no leaks, your warranty is as originally stated, which we have a 10-year on underground duct assemblies. Okay, well, if that is all the questions, oh wait, no, we got another one. Can we schedule a remote L&L? Yes, we can. We can do remote meetings. We can do remote webinars. Just send me an email and we'll get you scheduled in. Bill Dunn, do you think we'll have trouble getting engineering inspectors to approve it? Absolutely not, because the competition has already done that work for us. We will not have trouble getting engineers or inspectors to approve it. if that is the accepted method for another material. And given the testing and everything that we've done so far, there will not be an issue. Okay, so with that, I thank everybody for your time.